Morning. Well, it's morning where I am. I am just about getting ready to eat. I'm heating up some food. You might have just heard the microwave start beeping because I got food I got to grab out of there. But before that, I'm going to do a quick snack or skip going over one of my favorite kinds of foods, and that is Chicharon. If you're ethnic, I'm Filipino, so we call it Chicharon. I know it's also called Chicharon in different Hispanic, countries. Anyways, if you don't know what Chicharon is, it is fried pork rinds. If you know what fried pork rinds are, look it up. Anyways, this one I've already kind of gone into, but salt and vinegar, special, whatever that means, premium, whatever that means. Oh, oops. And garlic and vinegar. Anyways, I love pork rinds. I've seen the St. Michael ones in this kind of really nice and might be even newer packaging, and I've wanted to try them because they've been showing up at pretty much every Asian grocery market that I've gone to, and there's a different brand that I usually get, but I always like to sample as many types of pork rinds to see which ones I like the most. But anyways, we're going to talk about these ones in particular. When I was buying my last video, I was buying my wife her chocolate mochi ice cream. I just was strolling through, killing some time while she was getting her nails done, and I saw these, and the packaging is really, really on point because it's eye-catching, it's very modern, it's sleek, it's colorful. It got me. That is it. It got me just because the packaging on it was really solid. Then I noticed that there are, all of these different flavors. And on the back, you can see there's even more flavors. There were two ones that I didn't get to grab while I was there that they did have because I didn't want to overkill it. There was the jumbo-sized ones, which is, I think, just the original, but bigger. Then I didn't see original, so I couldn't grab that. And I didn't see the ground, which they have here, but I have all the other flavors. The other thing I noticed that they had is St. Michael Chicharon had a chicken skin, which I love. I just didn't grab it because I'm not doing chicken skin right now, and I'm already buying 4 bags. But anyways, talking about these, snack or skip, I typically will always say, doesn't even matter the brand, you should always snack on Chicharon. One, if you're kind of a health freak, it is they're typically 0 total carbs and 0 total sugar per serving, but they're really solid. When I was doing keto, I really enjoyed eating pork rinds and Chicharon just because, it was an easy, crunchy snack. The macros are a little bit easier on me for keto. And besides that, though, as just someone who likes food and likes snacking, Chicharon and pork rinds are really great to snack on. Great with a drink, especially like an ice cold beer. Great for parties, great for any occasions. Great for crumpling up and using as part of like a food topper. In Filipino cuisine, we do it all the time. Add some crunch, add some texture. Throw that on like some sisig. If that's one of the more popular modern Filipino foods that most people know nowadays, sisig. Crunch up some Chicharon, throw it on there. But anyways, I'm going on a whole rant about not even talking about these. In this one video in particular, I'm just going to talk about this particular one because of the bag I opened. I'll do separate ones for the other 3 flavors. But I chose salt and vinegar because that's kind of like, outside of original, I think that's kind of the standard that people should go with if they haven't had them before, because original is really just salt and the flavor of the pork rind itself. This is where you're talking about the first type of seasoning. Instead of pepper, we're going to go salt and vinegar instead of a salt and pepper. As you can see, I did enjoy it because I bought this last night, and I already ate through most of it. So I already have my thoughts on it because I just couldn't stop myself from snacking. I haven't opened the other 3, but just, smelling it off the bat smells great. You get a lot of that, I guess acidity from the vinegar right away. The look of them, they're nice. They look good. They look maybe too perfect. My only thing about them, and you might be able to hear it, is I don't know if it might be the bag I got, but it's super crunchy. But once you start chewing it, it almost gives off a stale consistency. Like if you've ever had Cheetos or hot Cheetos and you let them get stale, that's what it starts to chew like with these particular St. Michael pork rinds. And it's not bad. And two, I really like the flavor. One of the things I really like is the flavor of the salt and vinegar is really evenly dispersed across the whole bag. So I'm kind of consistently getting the same amount of salt and vinegar for each bite, for each piece, which in a lot of the other brands I would get, sometimes flavor could be missing. I know in Original that was a big problem that I would sometimes have, where salt isn't on every piece equally. So one piece could just be the salt flavor of the pork rind, which is fine, and then one piece is just super salty, which I actually really like on pork rinds. But anyways, with these particular St. Michael ones, it could be the bag. I don't have a problem with it, as you can see, because I pretty much demolished this last night. I think the flavor is really good. It's super consistent. I think it could actually use maybe a little bit more of the vinegar, in my opinion, because I like it super vinegary when I'm eating a salt and vinegar pork rind. But I would say my big issue is that there's not a little bit more variety in the chew and the crunch. Every bite is super crunchy, but then they get into, like I said, that kind of like texture of it being like a stale Cheeto, which is crazy because I actually like stale Cheetos more than like fresh, crispy Cheetos. I purposely let my Cheetos get stale because I think they're better that way. But on the other side, I'm comparing it to other brands of Chicharon and salt or pork rinds that I've had that are varied in texture, where some pieces are super crunchy and then some pieces are actually super crispy, kind of flaky in the way that they break down. And I kind of like that variety, and I think it's because that's what I'm used to. That being said, this is still a hard snack, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be pretty much done with it. I'm about to finish it. But there's like 5 pieces. I'm gonna finish this in about 10 seconds. But yeah, if you haven't had Chicharon or pork rinds, you definitely should get them. And if you can get them fresh, for like fresh from like the markets, like you have to go to like an ethnic market, either like Asian markets or Hispanic markets. They will have fresh Chicharon. They will have. If they don't, there's a problem. Leave that market. But fresh is next level. That's the stuff that you really want to be snacking on. But I want to say those ones probably have those problems aren't definitely not going to be as keto approved as like these are. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. Snack.